Welcome to the Expanded Podcast with your host, Lacy Phillips. As a leading manifestation advisor with a process that's, radically different from the old New Age model, mine is rooted in psychology, neuroscience, and my energetic gifts. Therefore, I created this podcast to help you expand your subconscious limiting beliefs about the potential of deserving the manifestations you're calling in. In each episode, we'll walk through my expanders, a term in my manifestation formula signaling the people that already embody, have, or are successful in what we are looking to call in. These are the people that we witness through our mirror neurons on a subconscious level that expand us into knowing that our manifestations are possible as well. Especially when we hear about their background, their upbringing, their trials and tribulations, and any of their pitfalls that they had to experience along the way. Therefore, you're tuning into this podcast series to show your subconscious that anything you desire is possible. And by pressing play, you've already started the process of manifesting it. If you enjoy this episode, please leave us our review, comment, and share it with your fellow manifester that's struggling or could really benefit from the information that you're about to learn. Today, let's talk about rock bottoms. But before I get into that, I just want to say such a big thanks to you guys. We started this podcast simply because you guys asked primarily for that in a survey that we sent out. And we already have over 200,000 downloads within, I think it's been a month and a half it's been going. And it's such a testament to you guys. You guys are the ones spreading the word. You're the ones reviewing. You're the ones listening. You're the ones telling people. And we're just totally floored. So keep telling us what you want so we can keep serving you. My intention, as everybody knows, is to literally serve anybody on the planet in manifestation who wants this information, who wants to do this work, because I do believe every single person is capable of manifesting innately because they were born deserving and worthy no matter where they come from, what walk of life. We are all worthy of it. So thank you, first and foremost. Secondly, let's get into rock bottoms. I feel like that's something that I can't go to a dinner party. I can't see a friend. I think those eclipses hit us all so hard. I think everyone, because what eclipses are obviously always about is shedding. It's basically stopping what's no longer working, or it'll be stopped for you because you're moving into a new paradigm. So rock bottoms, everywhere I'm going, I'm hearing people who are still like licking their wounds or finding their grounding. And rock bottoms need to have so much more love. When we're in them, they are bar none the hardest things we'll ever go through in our lives. I've been through so many now that I cherish and relish when I'm in them. Obviously, I'm a human, so I feel all the experiences of them, the emotions, everything that comes with them, which can feel like failure, shame, completely unworthy and undeserving, all my sense of security taken away. But I just want to help you navigate these a little bit, and also how you can use the workshops and material on the blog to do that further, as well as the Facebook community. So a rock bottom technically is what will hit us. It's basically an earthquake that's here to knock us back into our whole, most authentic, worthy selves. Every single one of us were born on the planet totally whole and worthy. Our essence, our energetic essence. We didn't understand any label, mold, shame, nothing yet. So we were in complete oneness and consciousness. That really, I always like to say it's the annoying terms that get thrown around, because when I was a lot younger, just starting out my spiritual practice, I was like, what? We're all connected, oneness, love. Like, I don't even know how to wrap my head around that. That makes no sense to me, and I've never experienced it. But then when I did, I was like, whoa, I get it. This is the answer. We were all born like that. Our total and when you're in Reparent, which is one of our main workshops on the blog, when you're in that, you get to feel that essence of you, that what you were when you were a baby, that pure love, warmth, that individuality, your individual expression, how you energetically emit in the world. That is your magnetism. That's what all of this work is to get back into that space and carry it in your heart and lead with that, which again, I know can sound so cliche and annoying if we're not there, but it is sadly the truth. So rock bottoms, they come to hit us and knock us back into that place, to get back onto our path. They are the biggest blessing in disguise that will ever come. So I just want you to take a moment to look back right now at the worst breakup you've ever gone through, the worst financial situation, when all your security was taken away, whether it was your home or your apartment or a friendship. Just resonate on that. Usually, if you decided to step into your worth or up level after that rock bottom, you became a seeker, you started to better yourself, you started to see yourself rewarded after the dust settled. But if you were the person who kept going down into the negative and kept on the path that they're not supposed to be on, you probably kept experiencing rock bottoms, or I like to say waves that keep hitting you. What's going on there when a rock bottom comes is exactly what I said. It's the universe literally being like, yo, wake up. Get back into your authentic self. I have so much to give you. I'm here to completely help you manifest everything you want. But in order to do that, you need to be in your most worthy, authentic path. So I just want you to start looking from a bird's eye view. If you are in one of these rock bottoms right now, or you're just getting out of it, or you experienced it earlier this year, it's actually a huge gift. And if you can dig your toes down while you're in there, so if you're, let's give the analogy, if you're out surfing in the water and a huge wave comes and hits you and pushes you to the bottom and you feel like you're going to drown, if you don't freak out and you just grind your heels in and you become as peaceful as possible down there, even if you're getting, hit by rocks and scratched by coral, if you just relax and you trust and you wait for it to pass and then you come up for air and now you go bigger and better of yourself after, like bettering yourself, through the workshops, which we'll talk about, and everything else in your life, you're passing tests and all that good stuff, you will be rewarded after. So when you're in a rock bottom, here are a couple of tools to help you. Number one, realize that you will never, ever receive something you can't handle. That's number one. Number two, when you're feeling like a failure or you're imprinting shame, that your safety has been taken away, that your sense of security and confidence is taken away, know that you're just being stripped into your authenticity. That actually, at the end of the day, you're going to get so much closer with yourself, stronger, and here's the beauty, after rock bottom, more magnetic if you really dig your heels in, or if you breathe, if you get calm in it. So that doesn't mean that you have to be cool, calm, and collected during rock bottoms. I've had rock bottoms where I can't eat or sleep and I have a seizure. And you can go through all the motions, but energetically that your faith isn't hindered. And faith can be a really big turnoff word. I want to say that your belief system isn't hindered, that whatever you're experiencing isn't your full truth. So what I mean by that is, here's the rock bottom. It's hit you. Your apartment got taken away. Your best friend hates you. All of your money. You lost your job. You were cyberbullied. Whatever. Something happened to you that was awful, or much worse, more extreme circumstances that are far more detrimental than those have happened to you. The dust is settling, you're coming onto the other side. Here's a couple of ways that it'll look. During that rock bottom, what I want you to do, number one, is fully feel your feelings. A great book for this is called Letting Go. I want you to really process all the feelings you're going through, and I want you to feel them. Number two is, when you're ready, I want you to start doing the work. During these rock bottoms is a very powerful time to be doing the work because you feel like you have a sense of control. And when you're in the tension, that's why I love rock bottoms, because they create the tension. It forces you to want to do work on yourself, to control your environment, to have a better and happier life so that you don't experience this again. It is the perfect time to be doing the formula magnetism workshop because you'll be setting your list even though you're not feeling like you deserve it. I'm saying it your core subconscious, not in your conscious mind. It's a great time to go through the manifestation process. Secondly, it's a fantastic time to do no, unblock no, because at your rock bottoms, you're being asked to shed things that no longer serve you. It's the time to look around, and no prompts you to literally look at everything, both physically and energetically, that needs to be removed out of your life to create space for what the universe is trying to send in. I don't know what I'm at anymore, but I'm going to say 3, which I might be repeating because I'm just sort of winging this. Number 3 is you will only experience rock bottoms if you've been consciously or unconsciously asking for something greater in your life that you want. Why the rock bottom hits is because you're out of alignment with it and the universe has it orbiting around you and it wants to come through. So it's literally trying to get you into motion to be on the exact same energetic as the thing you're asking for so that you can connect, but you're taking way too much time, so the universe is rock bottoming you, or another analogy is pushing you out of the nest to get closer to what you want. So knowing that while it's happening is so powerful. Even if you can't trust it yet, you will see in hindsight that that's what was happening. I guarantee it. And then the last part is, usually when a rock bottom has hit and you're doing the work, so automatically doing any of this work is going to start creating magnetism, micromagnetism, or large magnetism in your life, depending on how much of your ego shell you're peeling back and how much of your worth you're stepping into. But the beauty is you're going to have this tiny little period, most often than not, that feels like a mini magic dark. So let's say, for instance, in your rock bottom, things can happen where all of a sudden it's like, oh no, I lost 2 clients and I don't have as much money as I had. Or there's a recede that happens. There's a moment that's testing you to see, and this is where it comes back to the wave analogy, if you're going to be cool, calm, and collected. And it's testing to see if you are going to really trust in the universe, if you truly feel deserving of what you're worth, and if you're doing the work to stay in that space. So it's an energetic test, and it only lasts for a couple of weeks or so. It's basically seeing if you're going to squirm and go back to what was no longer serving you. So that's a very important component. You need to pass that little energetic receding test. And that ways that can look is going out and just making energy flow. Financially is a great way to do it. If, let's say, do it to whatever is magnetically impeding on your security or self-worth. So I'll use a financial example. Let's say this rock bottom hit you financially. It's the time to make your energy flow. This doesn't mean go out and buy things so you feel more successful and attracted. Energetic money is just the flow of money. It's a give and take. So if you're broke, go out and give the homeless guy on the street $1, especially if you feel broke. If you're at Whole Foods or wherever you shop, I'm just using a bigger analogy. I mean, I don't know, they're owned by Amazon now, so it's not even, who knows how healthy it is anymore. But let's say you're there and they're asking, do you want to donate the extra 30 cents on your bill to this cause? Yes. It's just that simplicity of getting things flowing. Let's say that your rock bottom happens socially to you and you feel like you're not even worthy of going out in public or at a social event. That's when you need to say yes to invites that feel in alignment with your worthiness. You need to show that it's creating magnetism because you're doing what's scaring you. And that's how you don't squirm. So there's that. Now, it is also very, very important to be doing the work. Again, if it's the workshops and this work, that's going to create your micromagnetism. Or if it's with your therapist that's actually pushing you to do like out of your comfort zone and to unblock subconsciously, that's great. But the beautiful workshops are the ones I mentioned before. And that's a way to carry some sense of control through this rock bottom to create magnetism and to also keep cool in that squirmy zone. So from your rock bottom to my rock bottom to any one of my team's rock bottom to the communities, you are supported. You are not alone. You're not shameful. There's nothing bad about you. You are simply about to be gifted with what you want. And please share with us what that is after you finish the workshops, your rock bottom, and that little receding kind of magic dark. Please let us know what that is. DM us or stick it in the Facebook group. And you're awesome. Today's guest, Shiva Rose, holds one of the most special places in my heart. We have such a similar background in so many ways. The parallels they're astounding that we decided really early on when we met a few years ago and finally got to spend some deeper time together that we must be a soul family. Like we must be traveling, each of these incarnations together in some way, shape, and form. We're the rebellious Aquarians that go against the grain and have beliefs and thoughts that, definitely vary from common thoughts and movements. She's half Iranian, and I had an Iranian uncle who helped raise me half the time. And then she's also half Irish and a bit of Native American. She also has roots in the country. The parallels are so, so beautiful. We were both actresses, and then we both moved into the space of holistic wellness and deep spirituality. I think you will find today's episode so expansive. And I mean, this is a woman who was a refugee who had to leave her home country of Iran after 10 years during the revolution when the Khomeini took over. And she basically came to the States with her American mother and her Iranian father, who was kind of like the Johnny Carson of Iran at the time. And they landed in Brentwood, and she just had to sort of acclimate and just sort of figure out American life. On top of that, you'll know that she had to put herself through college at UCLA. She became an actress, very heavy in theater, and has done incredible work. She also went through a very high-profile divorce and then really had to start her life over again as a total feminine, steeped deep in the power of her feminine as a mother, starting her own companies from the ground up. So I do think you will find this very expansive if you have gone through many rock bottoms in your life, if you've had to rebuild yourself many times, if you live, she really lives by the cycles of nature and truly, truly listens to them. Its ritual is everything for her, which you will certainly find in her new book, which we discuss in depth in this episode. Also, her skincare line. Have you guys been anywhere where you haven't seen it? I know I'm fortunate enough because I'm in LA and New York a lot, but I can't walk into a store without seeing it everywhere. It is so divine, and it's really steeped in Ayurveda, completely non-toxic, and all about bringing out the feminine and sensuality while having incredible results on your skin. So before I could just sit here and talk about Shiva forever because I love her so, so, so much. But I'm going to let you tune in and really see for yourself what a massive expander she is, and that there will be something in here that will expand you, that will vision hold for you, and that will show you just because you are alive and breathing, you are totally worthy and deserving of exactly what you want, and you will manifest it. Welcome to the podcast. We have Shiva Rose here of The Local Rose, also author of Whole Beauty. And then I'm sure there's not really a soul that doesn't know about Shiva. I can't go anywhere without seeing your product. In New York, here. Yeah, it's just the most special. So we're going to get into that as well. And Shiva's a major expander of mine in a lot of ways.
Oh,
you know how you expand me the most, Shiva, that I'll say before I start asking you all the good questions is recently when I was doing a lot of work on my feminine, because obviously we've been trying to bring a baby in and I have like very masculine work energy. And I was doing one of my deep imaginings, and I had a moment where it prompted me to bring all of my feminine expanders kind of in a little campfire,
a little gathering.
Against the stones. And you were one of the big ones. You're so embodied in earth and feminine and the elements.
Thank you.
You're an expander on many levels, but deeply.
Oh my gosh, that means so much to me. Thank you. We had fun that day, right? In the gathering with all.
It was so good. And I came over because Shiva also hosts tea ceremonies.
But I'm saying like the one in your
it was amazing. It was like everyone was just in like these flowy dresses, like just stuff that's not normally me.
Right.
And just so anchored into the earth, into receiving. Yeah, so fun. You're always fun in my deep imagination. imagine me.
I'll see you there.
Yeah. See you next time.
See you next time.
And you're a fellow Aquarian and generator in human design.
Right. Generator. Was it generator manifest?
Just generator.
See, I am being an Aquarius. I can't remember.
Because you thought you were manifesting generator. I was like, I feel like you're a generator.
I'm starting to get into that whole world right now.
It's so fun.
Yes.
You have to have a session with Jen. I have to connect you guys.
I'd love to. I guess I just feel like there's so much as it is right now in my world that I didn't want to add an extra thing. But the more I hear about it through you and through other people, the more it makes sense.
It's been the most for me actualizing and liberating system. So whatever.
I love that.
All the things. Tell us, what is your cultural background and upbringing?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm half Iranian and half American. And I grew up in Iran for the first 10 years of my life. And my mother is definitely an adventurous spirit. Mm-hmm. So I think I got a lot of my love for nature from her and a sense of adventure. And we lived in the countryside of Iran till I was 10, and then we escaped. And
was it right out of Tehran?
Outside, like an hour outside of the city by the mountains.
Amazing.
So yeah, we were sort of nestled by the mountains. And my mom was sort of the American hippie that would kind of do things like teach yoga and make candles and wine. And there was always something going on. She's actually remarkable in that I don't have this ability, but she's so creative that way. Like for a while she was carving wood, and then she would be making candles, and then she would be painting, and then
have
she'd
her bees.
And have her bees. That's one thing I did learn from her was beekeeping. I sort of stayed to one thing. Yeah, she's Scorpio, very good. Yeah, and my moon is Scorpio. Was your moon
Capricorn? That's why we love each other.
Yeah.
That's also why I'm like, Shiva, you're real passionate.
Oh my God, I'm passionate. But the Aquarius, it's so funny because the Aquarian is actually a little bit more masculine.
Totally.
And the Scorpio is a little bit more of the feminine, watery,
sexual,
passionate, sexual, sensual. And I feel like to stay in your sensuality, women should have new experiences and adventure and pleasure. And I think that those are all about ways in staying juicy.
Yeah, juicy.
Juicy, yeah.
I'm learning all about that. Really how to lean in. Give me your spiritual upbringing and background. What was that like, living with an American and an Iranian father?
Well, they weren't religious. I mean, my father was probably technically Muslim, but he was never religious. They never really practiced any form. We celebrated Christmas and all of that. So I think I was always seeking. Like I started to have a conversation with God at a very young age.
Mm-hmm. What was that like?
It was, it's so interesting. I just remembered that I used to make little altars around the house, but I didn't know they were altars. So I was like past life stuff, but I have altars all over my house now that are actual altars. Yeah. So there was something about that, like organizing my spirituality.
Wow.
And growing up in an Islam, in a Muslim country where they pray 5 times a day and they greet the sun. And I mean, it's really profound, that ritual. So I think I've always been drawn to ritual. And so when I was 21, I started practicing Buddhism, Japanese form of Buddhism, and I've still practiced that.
You chant still?
I still chant.
The powerful one.
The powerful one. I chant. It's an SGI Buddhism, and I do it because it works.
Yeah.
It works.
And share it because on a manifestation level, it's incredibly
It's incredible. Powerful. I feel like part of it is because it's mystical. It's called a mystic law. Mm-hmm. And then the other part of it is that actually when you're imagining what you want to bring into your life and you're chanting, it's a form of affirmation, right?
And a vibration.
Sound vibration, which is so powerful. So now I'm just, I'm a spiritual slut. I have like so many practices.
So many. I'm like, give them all to me. Yeah, I love them all.
And I mean, not like to a certain degree though. I'll peek into some others and I'll be like, I'm happy, with chanting.
I just take little tools in my box.
Little tools, but I'm also pretty set on the kundalini practice that I do every day, tea practice that I do every day, and the chanting that I do every day. Those three I'm pretty. Every day. I do a little, even if it's just 3 minutes.
Wow,
of
that's
gratitude
amazing. For years now.
Years and years.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
even when your daughter Coco was little, you were chanting.
I was chanting. She's called a fortune baby. If you're born into the practice, you're called fortune baby. And she just went to New York and chanted at the center there.
Wow.
And somebody said, "You're a fortune baby, aren't you?" And she was like, "Yep."
She feels
You can
like
tell.
one. She's so special. Both of them are so special,
Thank
those
you.
girls. I love
you.
it.
Well, they teach me so much.
They're the teachers.
My sun and my moon,
Oh my gosh.
They teach me a lot.
Well, tell me, what was the biggest moment of you on the floor crying? Your biggest rock bottom, your biggest down and out?
Oh, which one?
Yeah. You're like, they come every 10 years.
Oh my God. I feel like I've had so many lives in this life. I mean, definitely, having something that happened to me very young, very, very young, which transformed, I think you and I have touched on it, which touches on your sexuality and how you see the world. And then later at 10, escaping Iran and being hijacked and held prisoner. That was quite an ordeal. And, then
losing everything. You guys
losing
had
everything, becoming basically refugees and, losing everything. My mother brought photographs. That was the only thing we brought. So literally the clothes that you're wearing are all you have. So that was a huge shift. And then I would say the next one was in my 20s when I had sort of a mini breakdown. I had a lot of adrenal fatigue, which I didn't know then. I was a strict vegetarian. And I think there were so many things. I had autoimmune issues, and I ended up almost hospitalized that time, I think. And I actually, ironically enough, I went to Croatia to do work for the refugee camps with women who were raped. And they basically fired me because I was such a mess. So they had me do clerical work.
You had to do administrative. They're like, keep her away from the women.
They kept me away because I'd be like so hysterical with the women. They're like, you're not
such
really
an
helping.
Empath.
Such an empath. But also my nervous system wasn't strong enough to do all the activist work that I wanted to, which you and I know. That you have to build that nervous system.
To hold that space.
Yeah. I was just fragile. So I would say that was the other one. And then probably later being hospitalized for sleep issues, adrenal fatigue, autoimmune, and then divorce. And now I'm done. No more.
Please, you're God. Like, I'm good. I did it all.
I did it. I've had enough. Now I just want to enjoy and eat life
and flow.
and give love, because the feminine is love, right? The feminine is all about being loving and in love and showing love and accepting, so that the masculine can be the direction and the stability. So I like to think of the feminine as fluid and the masculine as like sort of like a solid oak tree.
The polarities.
Mm-hmm. So I'm done with the suffering.
Yeah, you've done it.
Please.
You're good.
Dios
On a
míos.
Subconscious level, you don't deserve anymore.
I know, I don't deserve anymore, no. And it's all about with your work, which has been so helpful, because I think a lot of it between kundalini and your work, it's uncovering the unconscious blocks because we don't even know. And I think 30 years of Jungian therapy may touch on it. But if you do, a few sessions of your work and kundalini, you're getting to the unconscious stuff, which I had to do, after being hijacked and revolution and abused. Yeah. I mean, all the things that were like, I don't think I'd be where I'm at now in this place if I hadn't cleared them unconsciously.
And I really believe too, and I really see you embodying in this, when you reach a level of true embodiment on a subconscious level of deserving, I don't really feel like you attract that stuff to you. I mean, you'll get little things, but there's such a sense of self where it's like,
yes, the sense of self-worth.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of your work and Yogi Bhajan's
He's
teachings.
Been talking about it for,
Oh my gosh. I mean, I know there's a lot of, he gets flack for a lot of things, but at the end of the day, he came here to this country to empower women and drug addicts. And the shit works. Oh, can I say that?
Yeah. Oh, I say fuck all the time. Yeah.
The shit works, man.
My dad's like, I don't think you should say fuck on the podcast. I'm like, Dad, I was raised by my mom. Like, I cannot say fuck on the podcast.
Listen, you'll reach a few people that you wouldn't reach otherwise.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Like, we need to be real.
Yeah, you just have to be real.
Well, the shit works.
Yeah, the shit works.
Yogi bees.
I mean, I've seen the power of kundalini over and over and over again. And it was interesting because, like, I did HAR, I think, for far beyond 40 days and not much was happening. But when I started to do what's opulence in tandem with HAR, it was exactly what Yogi Bhajan said. It will be too much prosperity to handle.
Oh, yeah.
And
You
it was like,
have
oh,
the
this is what he
ability.
means.
You have to have the bandwidth.
Yeah, the nervous system.
The nervous system.
To
Oh, yeah.
hold it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he's not lying. Like when you
No.
hear, I always laugh at Yogi Bhajan things because it'll be like 10,000 times something. You know, it's like
Right.
this big
But it's
projection.
true.
But after that, I was like, maybe
Actually,
he's really
you know
right.
Tiara, Stephanie from Leah.
I love Stephanie.
Okay, so I remember her and I started doing the HUD and the prosperity, and she was like, "Girl, I'm stopping. I can't
it's
keep
too
up with the
much."
orders." And I was like, I hear just like, we're just gonna stop.
Totally.
Because but you have to have the system to hold
it.
all this, the success. Because that's the thing that I think most businesses and people and actors, being that we were both actors, yes, you can get it. The success, it's keeping it and it's being able to handle it and not implode and become like an alcoholic or a drug addict or not worthy enough.
Not a sense of self.
Yes, not a sense of self, or destroy your relationship and your marriage. Or, I feel like you have to get to a place where you have the healthy sustenance
to hold it.
To hold it.
Yeah.
But the line came from I started studying with Guru Jagat like 5 years ago, and we would do like 3 times a week, and we all had a download. Her, myself, and Jennifer Nicholson, we all had downloads at the same time in the same class.
Wow.
So you tell me, like how
divine energy.
Divine energy when you're all meditating together. So I had the download to start my line.
And
Guru
for Rama.
Jagat had the download for Rama.
Yeah.
And our friend Jennifer had the download to start a store in Venice, which she since closed but is reopening in Ojai. So
wow.
Like that's just too.
Yeah, that's also where I think I talked about this with Sahara Rose this week as well. I don't really believe anything that's channeling through us is ours. I think we're just these vessels and we all have the capability of channeling. And it's like any of my message on manifestation, number one, it's been around for 5,000 years. That's even like, documented far longer than that. It's nothing. It's not mine. It's not none of it, but it's coming through in a divine way, just as you guys.
Well, it's the feminine. Aren't we vessels? We are literally vessels to contain energy, to contain. I was trying to think of the
like wombs. We're essentially a large womb.
We're made to contain a lingam. We're made to contain a child. We're made to contain energy. So when you clear that vessel of any unconscious debris, it's like free flowing.
Free flowing.
Yeah.
Who has been your biggest expander?
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, definitely, I feel like
you're mine.
Wait a second. I mean, I think as a child, it was probably a lot of stars.
Oh, wow.
I think we talked about like Marilyn Monroe was definitely, all the Anouk Aimee, Frida Kahlo, maybe not so much because there was so much darkness, but definitely her independence and her warrior spirit.
But she was a pioneer. Not just in, politics and art. I mean, she, as a human being,
right?
Oh yeah,
like
as a feminist, but so far beyond that, I feel it was like
and
she
to withstand
transcended
pain, like physical pain, endurance,
deep physical pain,
endurance, like being able to withstand and have endurance. Definitely Georgia O'Keeffe and some even characters from like Chekhov and Tennessee Williams and so it's sort of obscure. Ballet dancers. Ballet was definitely that was like my I'd hold on to that when I was a lonely like little refugee skinny girl. Being made fun of because I didn't have the Guess jeans of of Brentwood girls. Yeah, the standard.
Transplanting to LA. Talk about that a little bit because I think when people see you or they see someone who is so embodied at this point in their life, they never realize that like the shame or the pain that we all go through. Everyone. It is the most democratic thing on the planet. Shame and pain. But for you, like having to integrate into society and American culture in Los Angeles of all places. Oh my gosh,
Brentwood, California.
West Side.
Like the ghetto side of Brentwood, if there is one. I mean, this is back in the 80s.
Yeah, now it's like, what? Yeah.
Definitely, there was like lower Brentwood and higher Brentwood.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there was definitely a lot of lonely. And that's why I think I became an actress, because I created my own reality.
Yeah.
That was the only way to survive.
Same.
An imagination, right? Fed by books and things like movies. And so I sort of built a character that could withstand...
Like archetypes.
Archetypes, yeah. And definitely it was lonely. I mean, and then later, I think it was drugs and alcohol and, being sexually flirtatious. That was like a doorway, in high school, junior high school. And I think, honestly, acting saved my life, because I've had very, close friends die in high school, 2 very close friends die. And if it wasn't for acting, because that was like my anchor.
And your therapy and your place
and
to
my therapy.
express.
And I saw really young, I was like, okay, that's one road, or I can choose this road. So I just immersed myself into theater and acting and tried to make that my life. And thank God, because I don't know, there are a lot of people didn't make it.
I've had so many of those pivotal moments growing up, just because when I was small, my mom was very broke and single, and we would live in apartment to apartment. And I always was so enamored by any other culture. So it was like I would hang out with
Persian culture later.
What's that? I love being raised into they helped raise me since birth. So I was already multicultural growing up at that time, and understanding. And my uncle was gay and one of the first homosexuals to contract AIDS and died.
Wow.
And my mom's an alcoholic. I was around the array of everything. So to me, everything was normal. There wasn't any sense of taboo in those realms. But there were moments when I would hang out, with the kids that were doing drive-bys and stuff like that. I wasn't a part of it, but my parents would get worried. They're like, okay, she's really integrating into dangerous situations.
Wow. Yes.
And I had the exact moment where I was like, I have 2 choices here of roads I can go down. I can get pregnant young. I can do this. I can do all the things that I'm seeing expanders reflected back to me doing.
Right.
Or I can choose this other. And there was something divine that was always
I just got
choose
chills.
this.
What a beautiful thing.
It's so
and
important.
if we could only show that to other people in that age group.
I know. And that's what I mean, we just had this conversation a bit ago, but when we talk about real change in the world, I think about my grandmother, who I had all this going on around me. And when you grow up as an unwanted child to young pregnancy and being raised in 4 different households, here's the word that defines you: unwanted. Unwanted, not belonging. And so I look at I was just testing out where to belong. But I think about my grandmother. I had a grandmother who I identified with so much, right?
Yeah, very close
who was a witch,
grandmother.
Probably. I probably honestly came through her most, but she said to me, and nobody else really said this, just unconsciously, they didn't know they had to. And a lot of us in society don't know that we have to. She said, Lacy, you can be anything you want to be. You can be successful from any dream you have. You can make just as much as a man. And I manifested all of that.
Wow.
And if we want to make some real change in the world.
Isn't that powerful, though? Just
hearing that as a child.
Hearing it. We don't get how.
That makes the biggest impact.
But even now, I find that.
Yeah.
Even now, if I have someone tell me.
A vision holder.
Yes.
That's what I call them.
Even if it's a throwaway, they don't even know they're doing it.
No, they'll be like, oh, Shiva, in 10 years, you're going to be doing this, and that. And it plants the belief system.
It plants the belief system.
Oh, that's possible.
It's so crazy how.
You see it. I can do that.
Oh, yeah.
That's
powerful.
The most. And that's where I'm like,
oh God,
we can
I'm just
use
thinking about the
these
children. When you have children, you're like, oh,
it's so hard. Oh my God,
because you think about all the things that you don't mean to do. And
truthfully,
say,
I tell clients that I work with, they're like, how do I do this to be the best parent for a manifestor? I go, you forgive yourself that you're going to fuck up as a parent, period. Right. You're going to fuck up every kid,
right?
Because every child is unique and authentic. So it's like, you got to forgive yourself on that one. And then B, I believe the best things we can do with all the crazy shit we do to our kids and mess up and project on them and our own stuff from our childhood. Love them, give them self-worth, validate their belief system, whatever it is they want to do. Do not put labels on them. I have this great story of my friend who took her son to school the other day, and she was like, I have to tell you this. I'm driving him. And Ashley Nice just wrote a really beautiful post on this about not finding out the gender of her baby, because we can project so much
on that
onto a child before they're pure empty slates when they come onto the planet.
Completely.
Just pure love and consciousness.
Yes.
So she's driving her 3.5
2.5-year-old, and she's like, "You're my little man." And he goes, "I'm not a man." She goes, "Well, you're my little dude." And he goes, "I'm not a dude." And she goes, "Well, you're my little monkey." She's like, "I'm trying anything here." He goes, "I'm not a monkey." And she goes, "Well, what are you?" He goes, "I'm nothing." And if we allow them to unfold and show us, and then we go, "I see that, I validate that."
Let them become who they're meant to be.
And then we go find them an expander, a vision holder who's successful in that. That creates the space for them to do and accomplish and manifest anything they want. So I love that. So forgive yourself because,
Thank you. Well, that's the biggest thing about being a parent is that they are not an extension of your ego.
Nope.
They are not, no matter how much we want them to be this thing,
they're your
we
teacher.
have to let them be their own thing. And that's probably the biggest gift. That's like once I try to let go, because my younger one is such a fierce hurricane.
She's I cannot wait to see what she does.
She's not a graceful, little ballerina. She's just like this force of nature. And once I'm like, okay, that's just I just have to,
she must
let go and let God.
Yeah. You're like, surrender. Yeah.
You'll be running my world when you're 25.
And she's a Virgo manifester.
She's a Virgo. Oh, right.
And Max is also a double Virgo manifester. Oh, my gosh.
She's a double Virgo.
Yeah.
Scorpio moon, I think.
In a what?
Scorpio moon.
Wow. I think she's going to be she already is so magical.
I mean, it's interesting. Yeah. So I just need to step back. Just love her. Let her just,
show you who she is and support it.
Support it.
That's the hardest thing, I think. And this is from someone who doesn't have a child, but who gets asked for this. And I'm like, I'm going to fuck up my kid. It's going to happen.
No.
It's just what happens.
I think you know enough.
So I'm quickly interrupting this episode to invite you, if you're ready to start your manifestation journey, or if anything you've heard in our manifestation episodes has piqued your interest to begin. We have a la carte workshops in everything from the basics bundle, which is what we recommend to everyone who starts. It's the formula that actually teaches you how to manifest, unblocked inner child, and unblocked shadow. We also have a la carte workshops on love and money. But the real gem is the Pathway membership because it encompasses every single workshop we have. It's a year-long membership with full access to the few a la carte offerings we have and exclusive workshops not available anywhere else, such as the daily practice, which is what everybody in the Pathway uses, hopefully at least 3 times a week to daily, in order to truly create the new neural pathways that one needs in order to manifest, and houses the library of our deep imaginings, which is our unique hypnosis process that allows you to get into your subconscious and overwrite those old neural pathways, creating the new ones. You can use our special code EXPANDED, all caps, EXPANDED, to receive $20 off your first a la carte workshop purchase or $20 off your first month of the Pathway. Again, that's all caps, EXPANDED, EXPANDED. Okay, now back to the episode.
Okay, so tell me what, and I think this will be a very inspiring, expansive answer from you for the person who looks at your life and they're like, Shiva has it all. She's come into herself. She has her book. She has her line. Her house is beautiful. Her family's beautiful. Let's hear about the brokest down and out you've ever been.
Oh, my goodness.
You're like acting when I went.
Yes. Well, I think there were a couple of years at UCLA where I worked all through high school. I started working at 14.
Same.
So yeah, I think us Aquarian independent spirits
I was
were yeah. But
I was a housekeeper and I worked at a gas station.
Did you? A gas station? Now that is sexy.
Well, I'm from a small town.
I want to see Lacy.
I was an opportunist.
That is hot. I'm sorry. I might have my girl crush expanded.
I love that. You were at Betsy Johnson.
I worked at Betsy Johnson, but I worked at a multitude of jobs before then. But I remember there was a semester where at UCLA, I went to UCLA and it was very hardcore. It was like my last semester. So I took a grant out and I didn't work. It was the first time I didn't work and was just a student. And it actually was probably probably one of the happiest times of my life
Yeah.
when I could just be a student.
Yeah.
But I remember, having that one muffin that was going to sustain me, that one bag of lentils that was going to sustain me. And then my friend and I, she was an artist. We needed art supplies, so we dug in the trash.
Wow.
We dug in the trash in Hollywood for art supplies to make art or costumes, or it was definitely. But those are times you can look back on and see.
I love that. Was Sam French there at the time still?
Oh, definitely Samuel. Oh, for sure. I can't believe they closed that.
I know. Have they?
The one on Hollywood, I think, closed.
Really?
Did it? Maybe not. Maybe
okay.
don't
We've been out of it for so long now.
I know, but I think I heard. I know.
We have to get a play together.
Oh,
we should just
my gosh.
scene study.
I still have moments where I'm like, okay, if someone wants me to do Chekhov or Tennessee Williams,
you're like, I'll do it.
I'll come out.
Yeah. I'm Sam Shepard. It's
Sam
basic,
Shepard,
but I'm
yes.
ready.
Oh my God, Fool for Love.
Fool for Love.
You should be doing Fool for Love.
It is one of my favorite.
Your fingers
parts.
smell like pussy.
Pussy. Yeah. And you get to be insane in that.
It's so good. Yeah. So, anyways, I'm sure everybody's like, "What are you talking about?" I thought this was about crystals.
No, read the play. It's such a good one.
It's about polarity, actually.
Yeah.
Fool for Love is about the ultimate polarity. Yes, it's about a brother and sister.
Yeah.
However, it is
the
ultimate masculine and
feminine.
feminine. Yeah, and I'm all for that. I'm all about being a feminine feminist, which is what Anais Nin used to say.
Yeah.
I'm all about, the more feminine, the better. And I think that's where the power lies. It's not going to come from force and putting other people down and tearing people down. It's going to be about, again, the loving energy that is the ultimate feminine.
And being an expander and showing people that they can do and be anything they want.
They can, definitely. I was told at 26 that I had a year to live because I had with the lupus, scleroderma, and rheumatoid arthritis.
Oh my God.
So I have so many gifts and treasures in my life right now, but there have been dark roads.
How did you process that time?
Thank God for that rebellious nature again. It was a Dr. Bluestone in Beverly Hills. He gave me the diagnosis. And I remember I was with my mother. My mother started crying. And I was just like an internal fuck you.
Yeah.
An internal, like, no fucking way, that's not my story.
Yeah.
So I was just like that's when that rebelliousness comes in handy.
Yep.
And I just had my daughter, Coco, and I was really tired and achy and exhausted. And a friend of mine, Eve Gerber, said, you should go see this doctor. He's a Sikh. He wears a white turban.
Love it.
He's one of those weird Sikh people, but his name is
You're
Dr.
like, I'm
Saram
Sikh now,
Khalsa.
after all the kundalini in it.
But how crazy, because that's my practice now.
Totally.
I actually see Dr. Saram Khalsa. I went to see him, and he said, I'll make you feel better within a year.
Oh, and he did.
And it took longer than a year, to be honest. And there were a lot of dietary things I didn't do at the time, which I now know, was part of the issue. But I saw him at White Tantric the last time I was there, and I was like crying. I thank him in the book because he's now in his 70s, and I was like, Dr. Saram, I don't know if you remember me, but you got me on the path.
Amazing.
So it's so wild. Like we're practicing the same,
all the things. Yeah, because you do.
things.
You have a full Ayurvedic practice, physical care. Your whole line is based in Ayurveda. It makes sense. It's all full circle too.
All full circle. So the poison can turn into medicine.
Always. And if you have the medicine for too long, when you don't need it anymore, it can turn into poison. It's the same.
That's interesting.
But what would you say, with all of the autoimmune conditions, have been the most, like the top
beneficial?
5? Yeah.
I would say definitely, autoimmune is being allergic to yourself.
Yeah.
So it's the ultimate not having the self-worth, the ultimate self-flagellation, self.
The Buddhists say that it's like past karma that hasn't been integrated.
Past karma, mine was on my back,
Yeah.
which materialized there, which is your past. So I would say definitely going organic, cutting out all processed foods, adding some, sorry vegans, sorry vegetarians.
I know for
I
me
was a
it's been the most
vegetarian for
medicinal.
25 years, and I think it was destroying my body because I was eating so much wheat and GMOs. So going organic, adding some animal protein, having a spiritual practice, getting into nature, having more fats.
Wow, that was really
Because I was a thin actress.
Yeah.
I was like, underweight and and acting is all about, what is it called? When you get turned down, when you get shut down. Rejection, yeah. Which is the ultimate form of autoimmune.
Totally. All of that you just keep in you and hold in you, and you go back every day. Just, I used to say when I was young, my family would be like, isn't it hard? All of that rejection, thousands and thousands of auditions. And I'd be like, no big deal. But I also live my life that way a lot, all of the masculine, all the spiritual bypass, all the positivity. And when I really was towards the end of leaving, I was like, yeah, it hurt.
It hurt.
Really bad.
Yeah, I'm getting emotional now because it's so much of it is the blocks we put up so we don't feel it.
So we don't feel.
And the whole idea, again, to be in the feminine is to feel, right? And to not be afraid to be, emotional or dramatic or
all the things.
All the things that I think I was told as a kid. Or needy.
Needy is the biggest, especially in our climate here in New York. They're very, when I work with clients in dating, that's the biggest one we have to unlock. Gosh. Needy, crazy.
Yeah.
All of it.
Crazy. Well, I feel like my hormonal issues, when I really went over the edge and was hospitalized, I had this epiphany that all the women before me who were supposedly hysterical or put in away or given lobotomies or hysterectomies, it was all hormonal issues that weren't being addressed. Yeah. And I remember feeling this lineage of women, having this connection with them and going, oh my God, I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm so sorry. Because I was one of those women at 3 a.m. in a slip, barefoot, running in the hills, thinking about killing myself.
Totally normal.
And if I didn't have
a daughter,
and if I didn't have my young daughter, I probably would have, done something.
And that's all just a crazy chemical and hormonal
crazy.
Imbalance. It's so sad.
It's so sad, but what a blessing this time we live in.
I know.
There's a lot of negativity with social media and all the things that are, with all the stuff. But the blessing is
support.
And I think that's probably what, maybe it's a little frightening because we're reclaiming our health.
Powerful with it.
Yes.
Yeah, very powerful with it.
Yes.
Yeah, reclaiming also, that's okay. The crazy thing is such an important topic for women, especially.
Lyme is exactly a mirror to what we're doing to the planet.
Totally.
It's exactly how we're decimating our planet. It's decimating our bodies with this maybe man-made disease.
Totally. There's so many theories now that it's a virus, that it's not even, ticks and things don't pass it, that just will
exasperate it.
Will
open it up.
Yeah, there's a lot of new theories.
Parasites, which I know you and I have gone down that whole, my whole family's done numerous amounts of because once I realized the parasite thing.
Oh, yeah. But that's all we are on the planet.
Yeah.
We're just parasites on the planet. That's a good one. That'll probably get us in trouble.
Hashtag.
Yep. Hashtag. Yeah, totally. Then my other big question that I love to ask everyone, there's two. What is the biggest shadow aspect you've had to integrate? And you have that Scorpio in you that understands it and feels it.
Wow. You're so deep.
I know. I know. We're what's your favorite color?
I think maybe coming to terms with the feminine in me. I mean, growing up in Iran, sexuality and your yoni, that stuff was shame. Women were stoned to death for that stuff. And then, ironically enough, I had my ex-mother-in-law is Eve Ensler, and she wrote a play called The Vagina Monologues.
Oh, yes.
So I always felt and then I remember one of my acting parts was this girl who loved to get, have her guys go down on her. And I was like, fuck.
I'm so glad you got these beautiful mirrors that made you go, I have to face this.
I have to face this because I had such trauma about that. Even my gynecologist to this day will dim the lights. He's like, oh, it's Shiva. I know you like the lights dimmed. Yeah. I'll put the candle on for you. Yeah. I'm like, Dr. Crane, I'm just so shy. I'm sorry.
I know.
So I think it's coming to terms with the beauty of the ultimate feminine, which is that,
Yeah. And the ultimate receptivity, the ultimate,
Yes.
creation.
The creation and like pleasure and being okay with sexuality and knowing that sexuality doesn't necessarily mean sex. That's
It's
your
creative.
energy.
Oh, my
That's your
God.
creative energy. And there's no such thing. I think women can get better.
Yeah.
And that's a fallacy
With
we need
age.
to change. Yes.
Yeah.
We can change this fallacy that it's the reverse.
Oh, totally.
I mean, I feel like my moon cycle is so in tune right now in my 40s with like, you know, I get it every
full moon.
and then new moon I ovulate. It's
Yeah.
like clock, you know, thank God.
Yeah, you're so on. Yeah, so
But it's
on.
taken me this much time to respect the rules of nature and my body.
And that it's okay and
that
beautiful.
it's okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Shiva, thank you for sharing that. I think so many women can relate to that. And also, if there's one man tuning in, if there's a guy, also realizing too, you know, that is a struggle still in today's culture, even though I know that it was a Middle Eastern environment that you were growing up in at the time, but it's so important. So
It's so
thank you.
important. And,
Yeah.
you know, there's a whole chapter in there on yoni eggs.
Yay!
And I feel like that's been a big teacher for me. And
Thank you. Oh,
Yeah,
thank
of
you for
course.
sharing that with us too. The book, which I'm going to get into in a minute, when I first, this doesn't happen to me ever, Shiva, when I think I opened it up to, I forget which page I opened it up. It was you with the two feathers, like really claiming your Native American heritage and having that beautiful ritual and prayer. This one. And I almost cried when I saw it. And I don't know why it made me so emotional, but you were just so embodied in
you.
yourself, in your spiritual practice, in the feminine, you know, really crying out to the earth, working with the elements of the earth that, we've got to get in.
Thank you. Well, the book has been, it's not, I know it might seem like cliche to hear this, but I don't think it came from an ego place. I think a few years back, I had pitched a book and it got a lot of no's.
Yeah.
And that felt more from an egoist.
Like I needed to do this. It's my point in my career.
Yeah. And then this time around, it just flowed. And that's another thing I've learned. If it flows, you know, that's the
Go.
way. Just go.
Yeah.
Go with it. So that was a bunch of green lights, like The Greatest Agent, Meg Thompson, you know, the greatest publishers, Artisan, the greatest photographer, the greatest. It just flowed. It was just like so. I'm like, oh, this is the way it's supposed to go when you're in the right place at the right time. And
Yes.
it's meant to be. It's bigger than us. Like you said, we're vessels.
Channel. Yeah.
A
Just
channel.
channel. And no forcing. And
No forcing. Gosh, now I just have to remember that for everything
oh,
else.
it's like daily. Like put a reminder on the phone. It's the hardest thing on the planet. With a Scorpio moon, I think,
my
too.
gosh.
It's so hard. What
yes.
is the biggest inner child? I'm like taking
questions. I
Go
was like-
deeper. Inner child belief you've had to reprogram for success and to feel embodied at this point.
Besides not being worthy, I think because I was sexualized at such a young age, probably that has stuff to do with it too. I mean, I think flirtation is a great thing.
Yeah.
And you can flirt with life in general.
Oh, it's
like
the most
animals
beautiful and creative
Yeah,
thing.
like flirtation is okay.
Yeah.
So maybe that's wrapped around shame. So I would say getting over the hurdle of shame.
and the attention, being seen, all of there's
being
so
seen.
much.
And it goes back to the whole thing about the yoni, which, by the way, I think this is true. I heard there was a study that the last thing people see when they're about to die is a yoni.
Really?
We should check that, but I think I read that
So
recently.
is that going, because you're
Like,
about to go through another
You're
tunnel.
about to go through the tunnel.
Which is a different birth.
Which is, I just got chills, but like we're born through the yoni, and then the last image that we see is like...
It's so true. Because it is, I mean, we don't know yet, but that's
Yeah.
what people claim. Absolutely.
But yes. So
Oh,
I would
that's
say shame is
shame.
probably...
And that's I think there's not a listener that can't
Relate to that.
Relate to shame and unworthiness. Again, they're just the most democratic. Shame, pain, unworthiness, they all come down to the same thing of unlovability. And in manifestation, my whole work surrounds getting rid of it if you can.
That's
healing
why your
it.
work's been so profound, because it kind of it narrows it down to like, it's not
Specificity.
too out there.
Thank
It's
you.
something like my brain logical. Yes,
that was me too. I'm like, I can stay
Yes.
in this. It's structured. And
Yes.
Okay, so a question I have that I'm really excited about, because I've had really profound experiences with each of the products. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of anything Ayurvedic based, especially beauty based. I do so many Ayurvedic practices or Vedic practices, such as Vedic meditation and Abhyanga. I mean, I do so many that I want to know which products for the person tuning in correlate really well to different manifestation aspects, like the Venus oil, if you're working with that feminine creative
Venus
energy.
is, in the book I talk a lot about goddesses. I really tune into Venus. Venus, I think my love sign is ruled by Venus, and I just, Venus is like my girl.
The goddess.
Yes. I mean, she's the goddess of love and beauty and creation and Roman times, Greek times. And now, I don't know if you guys know about these books, but okay, Sophia Code is one.
I've heard of it. Yeah.
I think I may have told you about that.
You might have been the one. Yeah, who did tell me?
Which is mind-blowing because she sort of connects the dots between Hathor, Isis, Magdalene, Mother Mary,
All of the powerful.
all of the lineage of goddesses, and how it's all one. I mean, I talk about chills, like that's been a huge expander for me.
Wow.
Is that book. So, but anyways, before I discovered that book, I've been on this Venus. I have an altar devoted to Venus. Friday is Day of Venus.
Yeah.
And when she goes in retrograde, I'm like,
Yeah.
like swimming in a sea of
Totally. That's me with Mercury. I'm always oh God. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But so I
not
created
Mercury. I'm sorry. Which one is for me?
Jupiter, Saturn, or
Jupiter.
Jupiter. Yeah.
Yeah. Not Mercury.
The
I'm always
Aquarian.
chill. The last 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks.
Oh
woo!
my goodness.
But I like prosper. Yeah.
Do you? Well,
And Mercury
that's
retrograde.
again. That's what Kundalini teaches you to like harness the energy that everybody else is like,
It's freaking out about.
You're
Yeah,
like-
that's the time to tune. Like, yay, thank you. Like, anchor in.
Yeah, but try talking to like lawyers and
yeah.
and real estate people. You're like, I'm sorry, I can't sign this until after.
Oh my God, I signed my house papers this last Mercury in retrograde, being like, thank you, universe. Yeah, no big deal.
Good. I love that. I love that. Biohack.
And it's the rebel.
It's the rebel.
But go ahead with it.
Totally. So the Venus, I think I first created the Venus body oil as an homage to Venus, and it's made with amber.
Oh, yeah.
And most people are like so confused. They're like, should it be rose? And you're rose. I'm like, I mean, I like rose,
Yeah.
but I love amber.
Yeah, amber is
oh my gosh,
magic.
because again, it's like sexy and sultry. So I definitely made that, and I made the sea siren scrub, which with lemongrass. So it's all about releasing
Magic.
negativity.
Yeah.
So on Fridays, in Iran and Japan, Korea, all these countries, they have bathing days, ritual days. And I don't know if any of you have gone to some of the hot springs around LA, but we're very lucky to have these Korean baths.
Totally. I love them.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's
So lucky.
Oh, so rejuvenating. But I created that so you could scrub off the negativity of the day or the week, and it just makes your skin really luscious and juicy. And then putting on the Venus body oil. I also have a Venus body milk bath that's made with goat milk and Venus, the amber scent.
Wow.
So that's that. I made that recently, and it comes with a seashell, and it's all again just to like give thanks to that energy.
What about this new guy? This is really exciting.
I'm so excited. This is like my latest baby, but I'm so excited about it. I just can't. It's taken me like maybe 2 years to create, but it's really a gold, rich orange color because
the
it has
face one
sea
is
buckthorn.
so good,
Oh,
too.
thank you. This is more body, but it has jasmine, frankincense, sandalwood because it's a little bit sexy and sultry.
Oh, those are all
know.
the things.
Yeah, I wanted something a
Wow.
little bit more Scorpio.
Yeah, very.
By the way, that was my stomach growling in case the mic picked it up. Sorry.
Thank you. I'm glad you shared. Yeah, mine's doing the same.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you're just so in parasympathetic nervous
Oh,
system. No, I'm kidding.
exactly. Well, I've been doing the biomat, which I know you do.
I'm
love it.
obsessed with.
Yeah.
Obsessed with. But you're an OG. You've been doing it
Well,
forever.
I don't know. I mean, this one is so good. But so my partner was on it yesterday, and he was on it for like a good couple hours, and I don't
you're
think
like,
he
you're gonna be
realized.
dehydrated.
I don't think he realized. Today he woke up, he was feeling. I'm like,
You had a headache. Yeah.
I'm like, it's so deep. You don't know at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But it's like getting on a cellular level.
Deep cellular. Oh, it's
Deep.
to me been I travel with it.
Do
When I
you?
was in New York, we were in New
Oh,
York last.
yeah.
I'm like, I have it in my hotel room
Wow.
because all the same
flying.
things happen to me when I'm in nature. So if I'm in sun and then also have all the extremities on the earth, it's a similar thing. Like negative ions are released, the morning infrared rays are coming through. But here in LA, I have concrete in the back, and in New York, especially. New York turned my teeth yellow last time I was there.
Oh my
It was
gosh.
so hard on my system. It was crazy.
It was hard on my system too. I think I reached out to you. I had a hard, last time was energetically.
And just I think there's 5G in there now. And I don't know.
I don't know what to do about that. I'm like.
We're just going to have to move to Texas.
Well, Texas, yeah. We have no cell reception where we're going.
The dream.
Yeah.
Okay, so finish telling us about this one.
Oh, so it's got all sorts of incredible oils, and it's a nourishing body butter. So it just melts like butter. And I just envision people putting it on their skin. It's called Golden Soul. It's an homage to the sun, because we need the sun.
We do.
And now everyone's realizing the sunblock is terrible for you.
Thank God. You've been practicing that for ages,
Not
right?
my face, but I do put my whole body in the sun.
I don't do
only
face
because I
either.
get melasma.
Yeah.
But I love. Oh my God! I hike. I go in the ocean. I'm like, that's the thing. I feel like I have one thing, but I'm also very much like need the elements, the nature.
Yeah, I
natural
talked
elements.
to Nadine yesterday as
Oh,
well.
yes, Nadine is big on. She was one of the
Huge.
first.
I was like, let's all go to dinner, you, Shiva, and I.
Oh
She was
my
like,
God,
let's
the
get together.
aquarium!
All the aquariums.
Well, that'll
oh,
be like a
geez.
15-hour dinner.
I know, we won't even be on planet Earth. We'll be like, and then we'll be back at her lake or
I
something.
know. I've been trying to go to that lake.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
Yes, she's beautiful. That's the one thing I feel. Again, it makes me so emotional. Like, we have such a beautiful community of people.
Very lucky.
Like you and Nadine and Nitsa.
The
and
fairy.
just like these like women, Amanda. It's just like there's so many like people doing things that are coming from the light.
And to empower. To
empower,
heal. Yeah.
And if it gets hard at times and you feel like you just have to remember it's bigger than us. It's our
bigger.
mission.
It has nothing to do with that. It's so much bigger.
Yes.
That's all. I believe it. There was one thing I wanted you to tell us about. Well, first, tell us about Texas? I want to know more. Well,
I love how deep you get, by the way. She's
I want to
deep.
hear for the people because Shiva, you've been through so many cycles in relationships. You were with the same man for so long and had beautiful children with him, and then had to go through being your own woman again after. But you finally have manifested in your guy right now. I mean,
Yes.
he's amazing. And
I feel very, very blessed.
Tell us about that manifestation process with him.
Well, he makes fun of me, but I like that because again, it's the polarity.
Oh yeah, and
Like,
it's the grounding.
It's the grounding,
Yeah.
and he keeps me in check that way. So, and we laugh.
Yeah.
Like you have to be able to laugh about our stuff.
Oh, this is hilarious.
like hearing your biomath.
Oh my God. I go home. My dad thinks this is the funniest shit on the planet. But this is like a real shift in the paradigm.
But your dad's
right?
a cowboy, right?
He's such a cowboy.
Yeah,
we were
which
at the
you
roping last
respect.
weekend.
Yeah.
Like the biggest of cowboys. But the real paradigm is shifting. Number one, and this is so surprising, he's one of my biggest vision holders because he's going around.
I love you. I've always loved your dad. I've never met him. But
you'll love him. He's an
I don't know
Aquarius.
why. Oh, that's right. He was an Aquarius. Too.
He's
Yeah,
amazing. And so he was having dinner at the house for the first time this last weekend or a couple weekends ago. And him trying to tell people what I even do is fascinating. And everyone's like, this is their exact expression. Oh, you don't hear that out of a cowboy's mouth every day. But what he tells people, and this is so cute, he's like, we're going to see her on TV soon. How cute is that? Number one, I'm like, I don't know if I want that, man.
Yeah.
It sounds like a lot.
But he sees that image. He sees the vision.
He
That is
sees
beautiful.
it.
Maybe we can get him and Dan together and have a support group.
Please bring Dan
Support
up.
group and Max.
Yeah, and
they
Max.
can have like a support group on how to deal
But
with
Max,
these, like,
he's not the best because he was raised by like the strongest, like spiritual feminist mom who's the
That's
most
true.
amazing woman. So he's
my
like,
God.
he's all in. You can't tell, but he goes to breath work every Sunday.
Well, Dan, my man, and meditates. He has a practice. Oh, yeah.
He's amazing. Well, tell us more about him. I want to hear it because you manifested him.
I mean, yes, because I think on my list was definitely spiritual practice. That's so important to me. That's like a whole language. That's a whole life.
That is the love language.
It's the love language. Because everything comes and goes, but if you have that foundation, you can build something.
Yeah, and you can constantly change and grow.
And you can grow. You have a way to do that. And someone who can build things with their hands.
Yeah.
He's a welder.
And that's what he does.
He does that, but he's also this on my list. You look at the list, you go, how are you going to get all this in one person? Because the other thing was a creative artist.
Yeah.
So you look at it, you go, how can a creative artist be a welder, have a spiritual practice? It's like
but he's an incredible musician.
He's an amazing musician. His name is Dan Dyer, and please look up his music because it's amazing. So good. It's so good.
It's also when I listen to it because I've looked at it on Spotify
I'm so
through your
glad.
stuff.
Thank you. Yeah,
but he sounds very old country, which is my favorite.
Well, that's his. We listen to
like Willie Nelson, George
old
Jones.
Country, old country. Yes, which I have such an appreciation for now with him. Which, strangely enough, I was growing up with my grandparents. So we used to listen to old country.
On your mom's side?
On my mom's side, that's who I was the closest to. We go on these summer trips every summer of camping and Yosemite. And
she was raised where she lives now?
My mom, they lived up in Northern California. Yeah.
Where at?
Yeah, Millbrae, California.
Oh.
But every summer they would take us to the redwoods and sequoias, and we'd listen to country on all the road trips. So I grew up with that.
Patsy Cline.
Oh yeah. So it's so crazy. You're like, how did a Persian girl get into old
Same
country?
with me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not Persian, but
you
like,
have the Persian connection.
I love Persian music just as much.
Right.
Like I love. Who's my favorite? What's her name?
Oh, Gugush?
Yes.
I know. I love that you know Gugush.
And all old 60s, 70s Persian music.
Oh, my God.
Amazing.
And the style and everything.
The style.
Yeah. Anyways.
So you manifested him all in
So I manifested him, and he's all those things, and I'm so grateful. And we're going to create a sanctuary in Texas. So.
Amazing. And Shiva just let me know that because Austin is so it's so liberal.
It's so liberal.
You can sunbathe.
You can
topless
sunbathe
there.
Topless.
Amazing.
I know. I was astounded. I was like, I didn't know, because I think here you could get arrested, and we think of ourselves as so liberal, and progressive.
Yeah.
But
and you talk to anybody about mitochondria health, they're going to be like sunbathe nude.
Right.
Yeah,
I'll bring that up.
Yeah. Sure. When you're
but it's interesting. I love Texas because it's almost what California used to be.
Yeah.
Because California now has become so corporatized,
So
and our
red tape.
liberal. I mean, look, vaccinations are mandatory.
Yeah.
Like Texas, that shit ain't gonna fly because they
no
are their
government
own
involved.
people.
Yeah.
They are their own state. They don't even think of themselves as Americans or Texans.
Totally.
So I love that rebellious spirit.
Yeah, I'm such a rebel.
I know.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of interesting things about Texas where I'm like, okay, Texas.
Yeah, it's a new paradigm to
I
look
get
into.
you. Yeah.
And how amazing that Texas would get your light. Like you would come in and just, I
did not expect that in some ways, but I thought maybe Washington or Oregon or
I know. No,
Italy
that's where you're needed.
But I did put it out there that I was ready to leave.
Yeah.
My home here eventually.
And transition somewhere. So what else can we expect from you? What else is coming out, Shiva?
Thank you. I think, please, the book and the blog definitely has had some shifts. We're trying to get it more active because I sort of fell off the blogging.
You're in love.
Seat. Well, that and also the skincare line. It's just how many balls can we juggle and do it well. And that's one thing I've learned from my Virgo partner is, you got to do one thing and do it well when you're doing it. Because I can be scattered. I can be a hummingbird. I can be like, I'll do a little this, a little that, a little that. And that works to a certain extent. But truly, you have to give it all your focus.
I agree so much.
Yeah.
And for the book, tell us the premise of the book. Because I look at it, when I'm reading it and looking at it, the ritual is such a big part of this book. And it just really steeps you in. I think that's why I found it so emotional and moving. Because I used to do a lot of the practices that you have in there. And I've gotten just too busy or too far away or too masculine.
Right.
That explain to people what they're getting into when they are digging into this book.
I think it's about once we nourish ourselves, then we can nourish others. Once we nourish ourselves, we can nourish our land and our community. How do you nourish yourself? Well, you don't need necessarily, thousands of dollars to do that. You can create an altar with just a beautiful scarf and a flower.
Or what's in nature.
Or use the sun.
Yes,
or use the sun. You can just do what's given to us by God or source. And it's connecting to that source, and it's connecting to that spirit, which for me has been the greatest lesson. And that's one thing I've realized. And also being in a relationship now, like nothing is ever, nothing, no relationship, no child, no work, nothing is going to come between me and source.
Me neither. Nothing.
First.
I don't care what you're trolling on me about. I don't care what you are up to.
Yes.
I am so connected.
And when you have that, you're unshakable.
Unshakable.
And that's like such a beautiful gift that I hopefully show that in the book.
You do.
And that doesn't cost money. So you're not being elitist. You're not being, this is about your connection to your heart and your higher self.
I agree.
So,
and you have recipes in there.
Recipes, beauty recipes, teas, tonics, things that can balance your hormones, crystals, goddesses, yoni eggs. I sort of cover the whole gamut.
Yeah, the whole thing.
I think.
And that's why I find it beautiful. I've been taking it up to Mariposa.
You have?
Because I've been like deep in pagan studies. And not like Sussex or this or that. I'm really so curious how, before the First Testament was channeled, how every culture around the world essentially celebrated, within reason, the same practices, the same holidays, all because we relied off of just the elements. We needed rain for crops. We needed harvest. And I love this unity that's in that. I mean, it's so fascinating.
It's fascinating. Zoroastrianism, have you ever looked at
No.
that? Which is the ancient Persian religion, which is beautiful. Zoroastrianism is all about the sun and the moon and the elements. It's pre-Islamic.
I think I know elements of it.
Yeah,
but
you
I want to
probably
dig
do.
in.
But that, just type that, the art that comes up, it's like insane.
Wow.
So it's all about the pagan, before we were all burned at the stake. For
the witch hunts.
Yeah.
And then
but now there's new witch hunts, which we just have to overcome.
Come on, they're everywhere. But what I will say, and it's going to be so fun, is it Yule, or because I'm so new into all these studies, or is it Yule that's when you
Christmas time?
No, I'm actually thinking of winter solstice. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
And so I can't wait. I'm going to invite my whole family up to the house for it. My Persian uncle, and I'll bring in like all the Persian traditions. Candlelight
is like a big part of Yule because you're celebrating the light that's going to come after the dark.
Exactly.
And
the feast.
And the feast.
Staying up all night, having all the little
building
babies.
a fire, that's all about the warmth.
Nowruz is the best.
Nowruz is very much like, again, the Zoroastrian roots.
Yeah.
So it's all about that.
And that's exactly like Nowruz is the embodiment of, Zoroastrian paganism.
Yes.
Where you bring in the egg,
greens,
the goldfish, the greens.
I mean, that's so...
The offering.
And that's why it's withstood, time and generations.
And like everything, modernization, everything. It's so beautiful to me.
It's so beautiful.
So maybe you'll have to come up.
I was going to say, I want to come up, and some book that I would love to do in the future is on Persian, like going back to that. Like food and Zoroastrianism and nature,
I want that book.
Maybe it'll be, you do?
Please write it.
Maybe it'll be like Texas and Persia.
Oh my God, please. I love the dichotomy.
Persian Texan.
I'll take it.
Okay.
That would be incredible.
We'll figure it out.
It would be such a good rebellion to everything.
Aww.
Well, I love you, Shiva. I'm so grateful.
You. Thank you so much. God bless
Thank
you.
you.
And for all you're doing and all the light you're putting out there.
And you too. Thank you. I think you're such an expander, such a beautiful source of energy and the most grace that I know. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Thank you so much for tuning into the episode, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, we did. And in case you're not totally ready to join the pathway yet, I wanted to share a few of our free offerings that I'll often suggest to people as a little bit of a blueprint to get them started on their manifestation journey. The first place I like to direct people completely for free is the motivation. You can see it linked below or on our homepage as our testimony library. And it's categorized by different subjects, whether you're calling in career, money, love, wellness, and much more. When you're reading about a member's experience of what they manifested, you're actually seeing to believe and showing your subconscious that that very thing is possible for you. The second place I like to direct people is to the free clarity exercise, which is also linked below. In it, you get to try our own unique hypnosis process, learn about the science, and some journaling prompts. And the best part about this, you'll get a tiny taste of what it's like to go into your hypnotic state, bring your subconscious forward, and create new neural pathways while receiving clarity. And the third thing, if you haven't listened to it on this podcast yet, please go back to the episode titled Manifestation 101, where you'll learn the basics of neural manifestation to truly understand this process. So go ahead and check out those free resources, the motivation, the free clarity exercise, and the episode Manifestation 101, all linked below. And in an effort to make sure to have representation in this process series, go ahead and submit any process testimonials you have, especially to our LGBTQ plus community, our BIPOC, as well as the Ys, which is anyone in the community who is 45 and over. All right, we'll be back next week.